Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So today's video is pretty much a video going to be addressing some of the changes that have been made in Title Update 6's patch notes. And please note that these are patch notes. Changes can still occur. The developers can still change their minds. And if the developers are reading player feedback, then they are most likely aware that their nerf to the Eagle Bearer is not being received well by the community. And I know the Eagle Bearer might still end up being the best weapon in the game after this, but it's not going to beat my P416. I have a P416 that I've had almost since the moment we reached, World Tier 5, and it's the best weapon that I've had. And I wanted to just quickly address this because I remember when we saw some of the first few nerfs that were implemented in the game with some things like Safeguard, Patience, all this stuff. I said something. I said, it seems like these developers seem not to care about the amount of time that players actually invest in the game whenever they're considering making nerfs or whenever they're considering making so-called changes. And I think that's still the case. I think the developers do not care that people spend time farming for the so-called best items in the game, which it's a looter shooter. That's exactly what people should be looking for. And then somehow this Eagle Bearer, which people have played 30, 40 raids and probably still have not gotten, and people who've played as many or maybe as few raids have gotten, is now a useless weapon. Now, is it useless? Like it can never be used? Well, I'm not going to go ahead and jump to that conclusion, but the fact that they took away even one damage from this so-called weapon, and people might say, well, the weapon is still going to be good, it needed a nerf and whatever, yet they didn't nerf the raid, they buffed the raid. Remember, they tweaked all the little loopholes and made the raid content even much more challenging, which it wasn't really a challenge after you got to know everything. But the fact that you opened that chest so many times and this weapon didn't drop for you, and then finally you have the weapon, and the developers have decided that they're going to take the nuclear option, just goes to show that they do not play their own game. Go on the Reddit forums. I think they read Reddit. They like Reddit. I don't really care much about Reddit because it doesn't really align with the YouTube way that we do things anyways. There are different ways that things are done on both platforms. But if you go on Reddit right now and you read the responses to the so-called change in the Eagle Bearer, I think there's only one person that's happy right now that the Eagle Bearer even got a nerf. And this is the reason why I'd encourage my Division community to almost never ask Massive to make a nerf. They pretend like they do not know how to do balance. They know how to do balance, but they use these nerfs as opportunities to further agendas and to keep the player base playing for the next new big shiny thing. Because very soon, and this is not even a conspiracy, we're not 4-year-olds anymore. I've got one of those at home. They want to bring out new content, and they're probably going to be dropping maybe a new weapon or some kind of reward behind it. And if the Eagle Bearer seems to be as powerful or even more powerful than these rewards, they are maybe somewhat concerned that people are not going to be willing to farm this new content. I'm speaking from a PvE perspective. From a PvP perspective, that weapon should not have even been in the game. For them to have put the weapon in the game and not considering its own implications in PvP, and then the developers will say something like they played their own game. Who played it? Like, who there in the studio played and said, oh, wait, if we put this weapon in this way into the game, it's going to destroy an already dead PvP meta. And so they put it, now they're like, well, we want more people to go in and PvP, and so nerf the best exotic weapon in the game. And then there are people that are apologists that say things like, well, it's difficult to buff all the weapons. No one is saying buff all the weapons. I mean, yeah, some people are saying that, but there are other options like buffing all the other exotics. I hope you guys know that, right? Because I know I'm going to see a comment on the comment section with somebody saying, well, it's going to be very difficult to buff all the weapons. Well, no one is saying to do so. You could just buff all the other exotics and actually bring them up to par in their own right. And then now you have other contenders with the Eagle Bearer. And it's a small pool of weapons that you can actually use, a small pool of weapons that you can actually improve. And now you don't have to take this nuclear option, thereby wasting everybody's time who has played the raid. And so this is, I definitely think one thing, and you know, and I'm going to jump into this mindset. This is a mindset that I usually like being in because this is one of my biggest vices. It's my stubbornness. I genuinely think the developers are trying to frustrate more players away from the game. I think that's their goal. I think they want to, because if they don't have people playing the game, then their support capacity is going to be reduced. So when I saw the nerf to the Eagle Bearer, I overreacted. I just said, you know what? I'm deleting this game, and I deleted it. And then I said, wait. That is too easy. It's too easy for the developer. So I said, you know what? I'm going to come back and I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to play this game till the servers close down. And I understand that, you know, some people might say, I'm getting rid of this game, but no. That money that I paid for the, I don't know if it's a gold edition or whatever, it wasn't like, you know, crazy, but it was decent money that, you know, I mean, I paid less for Borderlands 3, and I've gotten in from now till level 10, I've gotten much more better loot from level 0 to level 10 than I have from level 0 to World Tier 5, 700 hours in the Division 2. It's a shame. It's a darn shame that a game that we enjoy so much, whenever they say something like loot changes, it's a series of nerfs. Unstoppable Force, nerfed. Unstoppable Force, which was already nerfed before. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? I was thinking, instead of actually, you know, making any nerfs, they were going to just increase NPC difficulty. That, I think, would have probably come in as a possible solution for the game. There are many solutions. There are many viable solutions. Yes, they're all difficult to implement. So why are they making a live service game? Why make a live service game if you're not willing to do the hard work that it entails in supporting a live service game? So, I mean, I am a little, actually, honestly, I'm not disappointed because I knew this was coming. And so I was heavily researching to find a game that I can enjoy. And I have found myself about 2 of them. Usually I enjoy playing 2 games at, you know, a giving stretch. I'm talking maybe 2-3 years. And, you know, the Division 2 was going to be one of those games, but now it's just going to be this very cold relationship that I have with the game because the developers just seem to constantly keep making the wrong decisions. Some people are saying that, oh, they're probably trying to chase players off to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but at this point, I mean, why make such an unfriendly set of decisions? Was this the ETF that signed off on this? Because I doubt it. I mean, a lot of the changes that we see here were changes that could have been put in there over weekends. They could have just been implementing these things on Thursdays. Like, okay, let's give you guys materials for crushing weapons. Let's give you materials that you don't already have instead of giving you materials that you have. Let's give you these things. These are things that they could have been implementing and kept the player base happy. But instead, they want to drop a whole new update and give you a brand new title. Pretty much, you're going to be getting a brand new title. And I remember feeling like this from the Division 1 when they will make these so-called changes, and then it feels like you're playing a whole different game. And to be very honest, to do that to a community of gamers on your second title actually gets old and is very stale. At this point, what the developers need to be focusing on is making content. All these nerfs, I feel like they're distractions from what really is the problem currently, which is lack of content to play. Because if they decide that they're going to give us sticks and stones, but give us content to play, it would actually play with the sticks and stones. And we'll even solo it. I mean, there was a 2-man raid discovery mode done by Capri and somebody that accompanied him just here on the Division just a few weeks ago. And so the Division community is actually very good at playing this game and very good at figuring the game out. Why the developers feel like they will be doing and making these decisions, I have no idea. But nonetheless, I was frustrated before I made this video, but I'm no longer, I don't feel like I'm, in fact, I was about to get frustrated. Let me be honest. I was like, and then I was like, whoa, why am I even mad? Like, I knew this was coming. I've been here for a long time, been playing this game for a long time, and been dealing with the same developers. And I have to say, this is the most criminal of actions that they have actually planned to take. Now, before somebody goes and makes a video about me jumping the gun, these changes are not yet live in the game and can still be changed. This is my disclaimer for somebody who wants to harp on me. You think I'm an idiot. Well, you might think I'm an idiot, but that's fine too. You can think what you want. It's your thoughts. But at the end of the day, they're massive. you guys can do a better job. I don't know. Maybe you guys are busy working on something else, some secret project or whatever, but this is not the way you're going to get the PvP players into the dark zone. I mean, because many of them have left. It's not the Eagle Bearer that's the PvP problem. Because even with when the Eagle Bearer was not there, there were still PvP problems before the Eagle Bearer came. The Eagle Bearer just came and added to expose more of the problems. And so I guess I can keep ranting. There's nothing none of us have heard already. And at this point, I just wanted to make a comment on it, a 10-minute statement. And as a content creator, I feel like it's my responsibility to give my feedback. And my feedback is this. This is not a community-friendly decision that Massive is making. If Massive wants to make a community-friendly decision, they know exactly what decision to make. That decision is to take all the other exotic weapons, make them viable, put them on par with the Eagle Bearer, because the Eagle Bearer was more powerful for people to play the raid. That's what it's showing. We made this weapon very powerful in order for people to play our content, because the quality of our content is not as, we're not confident in the quality of our content. Now that the content is reaching its expiration phase, the Eagle Bearer has done its job. Hence, it's no longer useful. That's exactly what this nerf is saying. So if they have any decorum, they'll make the right decisions, leave this weapon where it is, take the other weapons back to the drawing board. If they want to phase out the Eagle Bearer, that's a much more community-friendly way to phase it out. I'm done. Peace.